Today on the podcast, we have Sean McDonnell. Is that how you say everything correctly? Sean
hmm
McDonnell? Perfect.
Yep.
I know Sean, not at all, but by reference through Johnny Provost. Highly recommended you. Said you're a very successful realtor, really good guy. You have a team, I believe, and you're part of Real also, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay. How long have you been with Real for?
Just a few months now. We joined Real in like January of this year, so pretty
Okay.
new, but excited about it.
Yeah. Who were you with before?
We were with EXP
Okay.
Realty
Gotcha.
prior
So
to for
similar.
the past few years, so similar model, but
Yeah.
yeah, excited about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm with Real too. I joined Real, I don't know what it was. It was a year ago. Actually, it might be in May or April. May or April. I think it was April of last year I joined Real. Um, no bad things to say about it. It's been great. Um, I love the structure. We have a really good Indiana managing broker. So it's been pretty good experience so far. How long have you been a realtor for?
So I got my license in 2019, but really didn't start as an agent full time until 2020.
Okay. Really not that long ago. Yeah, it's only a couple years ago. What were you doing before real estate? Give us a little bit of background on you and kind of how you got to where you are now.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up in a military family, moved around a lot. Love my family, so very close with them. Great upbringing. My dad was in the Navy for a career, so every couple of years we bounced around somewhere else,
Hmm.
and ended up going on that similar route. So after college, I commissioned into the Marine Corps and was an infantry officer in the Marines for 7 years. And then I got out of the Marines in 2019. It was kind
Gotcha.
of all right. Well, not
Yeah.
not a lot of my technical skills
Yeah.
from the infantry apply to anything in the real world, but we had dabbled a little bit in real estate when I got out, and my wife and I just kind of decided that why don't we just dive into real estate full time?
Sure.
So that's what we did.
And how long have you been married for?
We got married in 2017, so we just had our 7 year anniversary, which is
Nice. Nice.
wow.
Yeah, we celebrate our 5 year this August. It's crazy. Time flies. I'm sure for you, even at 7 years, it's time flies and it goes fast. And do you guys have any kids?
We do. We have three kids,
Awesome.
5 year old, 3 year old, and our baby girl just is about to turn one next month.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
That's awesome. We're on a very similar track. We have a 2 year old, a 1 year old, and we're pregnant with our third in
congrats.
October. Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's we love the kids and we love it's super fun. It's chaos. It's no night is the same. Jed, our firstborn, is in quote unquote potty training. He just started by himself. He just wanted to do it. So now we're doing that, which is fun. But um, yeah, so I was in the Army reserves for 8 years. Um, yeah, the reason I did Army is because it felt like there was some jobs that might transfer, but Marines, like you said, infantry in the Marines, other than maybe some like leadership stuff, did you have any idea when you left what you wanted to do, or was it kind of like you got out and was like, okay, let's just figure it out?
Yeah, it was kind of more along the lines of let's figure it out. So my wife, who's
Uh-huh.
amazing, she was also active duty and she was a pilot. So her contract was a little bit longer than
Okay.
mine. And so we had a little bit of a buffer.
Hmm.
Like um, she had, she was still active duty when I got out of the Marine Corps. So we were able to like, live on her salary. It was very, nice financial buffer in a
Hmm.
sense, um, but our plan was that she did not want to do a career in the Marine Corps either. So I
Yeah.
was kind of all right. I have like a year and a half to figure this out. So that we had just had our oldest son at the time, and wanted to build something that could support our family, so she could just get out and work if she wants to, but be a mom really.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of the plan. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you, it's like people ask me what my hobbies are and stuff. And at this stage of life, I'm like,
Kids.
it's
Yeah.
family and real estate. Like
Yep.
that's
Yep.
what I do. And
Yep.
I love it, but it is crazy.
Yeah. And that's the most amazing part about it, is that it doesn't get boring. And like you said, I love it. It's a great hobby to have, is running around the backyard, throwing the kids around, playing
Yeah.
some game that doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm notorious for breaking my son's rules that he just made up 3 seconds ago, and then he changes them and changes them. So it's always fun. So your wife, she just is full time taking care of the kids now.
She helps a lot with the real estate stuff. She's very good with administration, very detail oriented,
Yeah,
and so she does a lot of bookkeeping for our team and our rental properties. And she also works as a listing coordinator for our real estate team,
nice.
but I would say it's part-time overall. And then yeah, but she's still pretty involved.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah, it's always kind of trying to find a balance between, she wants to work and help and contribute and also be a mom. So I feel like a lot of women go through kind of this back and forth in a sense, but yeah, she's very talented and great at everything. But
yeah, that's awesome. So 5 years being a realtor, when did you decide to? Is North Carolina different? Like when we have to have 2 years to be a managing broker. Is that the same for North Carolina?
same thing, yep.
Okay. But for a team, did you start that right out the gate, or were you just a solo agent for a while and then converted to a team?
I was a solo agent for right about that 2 years.
Okay.
And in the meantime, met a few other very like-minded new agents who really helped me like put the team together, Aubrey and Jay, and they they were both very interested in the investing side.
Hmm.
We just had a lot of kind of similarities, so decided to like form the team in like January of 2021, and then yeah, it's slowly just kind of grown over time to now. But
Yeah.
it was not really my intention right away to form a team. It just kind of happened. But I did really, the real estate agent life can be lonely for
Yeah.
sure, and I really miss like the camaraderie of
Yeah.
like the units that I was in the Marine Corps, and
Yeah.
miss the team environment. And it just kind of worked out where there were some really cool people who wanted to kind of help us get it going.
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like not just the Marines, but just the workplace in general these days, with so many people being remote, the camaraderie aspect, or like the build the team aspect of businesses, just is not really there anymore. And that was always my dream, is to be a part of, I was in the military, so I had it a little bit there. I was reserved, so it was a little different. It wasn't every day that we were together, but I wanted to do firefighting for the same reason, like be a part of like a unit, a team, or whatever. But that's what we're trying to, you know, build here at our business. We just have me, my brother, and our assistant so far, and my mom helps me with designing the flips and stuff. But um, that's the goal. So what have you done, or how many agents do you have now on your team?
So we have 15 agents, and then two full-time employees, a transaction coordinator, and then a marketing director, and then my wife part-time, I would
Yeah,
say. So
nice.
yeah, we've grown a lot over the past 2 years, just kind of
Yeah.
naturally, but that's where we're at now.
So what are you doing specifically in that same vein to create that camaraderie? I mean, like you said, the realtor life can be lonely. It can also be very like disconnected, in the sense of, just because you're on the same team, it doesn't mean you're doing transactions together. It doesn't mean you're listing the same houses. It doesn't mean you're, working with the same clients. You're still all doing your individual business. You're just under that team umbrella. So what are you doing to create that camaraderie and lifestyle in that business?
Yeah, so a lot of things, but I would say the main ones recently is we just broke our larger team up into two pods, is what we're calling them. For the first, just stepping back a little bit, for like 2021 and 2022, we were pretty small. It was 4, 5, 6 agents, and we were super tight, like meeting in person together every week. We figured out like we want to be surrounded by other people who are motivated not just to succeed in real estate but in life, and we wanted to be around others who wanted to be held accountable on stuff. So and then as we grew, we lost some of that, I would say, camaraderie, because it's really hard to get together with 10, 11
Yeah.
people. And when it's that big, it kind of is, some people can just kind of hide a little bit more. And some personalities, like that will naturally happen. So we decided this year to kind of break it up into two pods. So we have two of the more experienced agents on the team running the two pods, and just kind of similar, like Army or Marine Corps squad and fire team setup. So but yeah, so they meet in person every week, and it's more along the lines of like the accountability, the a little bit of training happens during those in-person meetings too. And then we meet as a big team just once a month to do a couple hours of like training over, kind of focused on like the tactics of how to improve as an agent. And then we do a real estate investing meetup every month that most of the agents come to. And then, we try and get together at least once a month, like outside of, a work environment. But it's hard. It really is like, there's so much autonomy in this life as an agent, where and we're not very strict. Like, we don't have office hours. Different teams are run different ways, but we have an office, like, and people come and go there. But it's kind of a hard balance of how to maintain that togetherness without being too like forceful with it,
Yeah. What do you feel is the most difficult part about having a real estate team? Because I've talked to people and everyone's got their own opinion on teams or your own brokerage, or just being like, hey, I'm just going to do my own thing, build my business, take what I can get. And for the longest time, I wanted to have a brokerage, and then kind of got talked out of it a little bit to just have a team. And at this point, I feel like I've been almost convinced to like, don't do a team. Just, it's not really worth it. And I would say I would caveat that with maybe those people's goals weren't properly aligned to what a team, like a team leader, should have. Like, they didn't want to build a team; they just wanted to have agents under them to grow their business and make more money. So, like, if that's what your goal is, I don't know if that's the best thing in the world. But if you're wanting to train people or teach people, maybe that's what it is. So, what from your experience, not just negative, but what's the best part and the worst part about having a team of agents? They can be agents can be needy too. So I don't know what your agents are like, but there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of unknowns, there's a lot of, transaction based stuff going on. So
Yeah, I think I'll start with like the worst part, and then do the best. So managing expectations, I feel like in life, like, that is a really hard thing to do, because you are required to communicate effectively and constantly, and make sure everyone is on the same page with things. So I think like it's a lot to start a new career as a real estate agent and grow to a point where you're closing, 1-2 deals a month. And there's such a low barrier to entry to being an agent, that a lot of people look at that career and see maybe a big commission check from a house they bought or something, and like, oh, I can do that. And they get into it for the wrong reasons, or maybe they don't realize like how you really have to get good and be comfortable talking about uncomfortable things with
Yeah.
people and just get over it. But I think the hardest part is just kind of managing new agent expectations for like what it takes to be successful in this career. And then on the flip side, like the most rewarding thing is seeing people who follow our process, who put in the work and who do the things, and they get the numbers, show, and they get to a point where they can, accomplish some really big goals that they set, start investing in real estate, and really like change kind of the trajectory of their lives, which has not happened with everyone, but has with some for sure. And that
Yeah.
is such a cool thing to see and be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. What do you feel like is one of the bigger things that contributes to that, those two flips, the success or unsuccess of new agents?
Yeah, um, I think the drive and motivation is really the biggest thing that you need. Like there's different personalities. Some people are better at, you know, having tough conversations with clients than others, but like anyone can do it. So the people who we've seen that have been really successful, like do the small things. They track their data. They track the number of conversations they have with people each week. They practice their, buyer presentation and listing presentations, and they aren't afraid to just put themselves out there. That's kind of a vague answer, but yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
that,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys do, I know you said you have a marketing director. What does that look like for your team? Is it social media? Is it, I know you said you do an investor meetup every month, but what kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff do you guys do?
Yeah, a lot of social media, um, YouTube, Instagram stuff. But really, we really are trying to build real relationships with other people in our community. So doing things out in the community, doing events, or just helping volunteer at different things. We want to try and meet as many people as we can, and yeah, make a lot of friends, really, to put it simply.
Yeah.
um, and be very active locally here in Surf City, North Carolina is where we're at. But yeah, so, and there's other, I mean, our marketing director helps with lots of other things too that go into
Yeah.
photos for listings, lots of different kind
Yeah.
of things. But
What is the like average price point of top sale? Like is that coastline beach house type properties or?
yeah, so we have a few kind of sub markets around us. So Topsail Island is a 26-mile barrier island in North Carolina, just north of Wilmington, and it's an awesome place. But yeah, I mean, average price points for beach houses is going to be around like $600,000. But if you go over the bridge inland, we're right outside of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, which is the biggest Marine Corps base on the East Coast. So big, heavy military presence. So the few of the towns inland that we're really active in, $300,000 to $400,000 for single family homes.
Okay. Is that a really heavy rental area with the Marine base being right there? I'm sure that there's tons of soldiers who have their, what is it called? The BAH or
Mhm.
off base housing that they get.
Yeah, it is a really strong rental market. Lots of Marines that get stationed here are only here for 2 years,
Yep.
3 years maybe.
Yep.
So they'll look to rent rather than purchase. And yeah, so I would say it's a really strong rental market. Rent prices have gone up a decent amount around here recently, kind of in line with a lot of other areas of the country. But
Hmm.
we do have a good steady influx of renters every summer as people get orders move out, someone else comes in and replaces them. And then the Marine Corps consolidated some of the special forces units out here in North Carolina from different parts of the country. So we had a lot of people, move here at one time, kind of starting last year. But
Gotcha. So like a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house there in that area, what are you looking for as far as, just like an average house price and rent? Is it meet the 1% rule? Is it not going to cash flow?
yeah, it will, with today's interest rates
Hmm.
and how values have increased recently, it's very hard to find something on the market that is going to meet the 1% rule, just turnkey.
Yeah.
So there's, and as you get closer to the coast, values go up. But if you go a little bit more inland, in Jacksonville, North Carolina, it's like 20, 30 minutes away from where we're at. There's some properties there that will get close to the 1% rule. But typically a 3 bed, 2 bath house and say like Holly Ridge is around, 325,000 or so. And the rent's going to be maybe like 2,000 to 2,200. So there,
That's not
a
bad.
couple years ago, like I saw some 1% rule, like turnkey properties, but it's really
Yeah.
hard to find that these days.
Yeah. And then what does the appreciation look like in that area? Is it pretty heavy, like 5% a year after year,
Mhm.
a little bit less, more? Do you know?
So 2022 was crazy. It was like almost 15% values went up. 2023 slowed down a little bit, but still
Uh-huh.
increased. And
Yeah.
then I just looked at the data yesterday for Sneads Ferry, North Carolina, which is one of the towns right here. And the values have gone up 6% this year compared to this time last year,
Yep.
which is
That's
just,
awesome.
it's a
Yeah.
little, it's a little mind boggling where the days on market have doubled.
Yep.
Like it's taking much longer to sell houses.
Yep.
There's more inventory on the market this
Mm.
year, but like with the higher interest rates and everything, like values are still going up at a decent amount. I
Hmm.
think it's just due to so many people wanting to move to North Carolina and the area just growing so much. Like it's kind of continuing, that demand is just pushing through.
Yeah. Yeah. What I feel like I've seen, I agree with what you said. I don't know if I can't remember off the top of my head if our supply like this month is more or less than last year. I feel like it's less, but I could be wrong. Um, I feel like right now with buyers, it's kind of like they want to buy a house, they get pre-qualified. They're like, okay, I can afford that technically, and that would be what my payment is. And then they go and look at a couple and they get like a little bit of shell shock of what they can afford and what they're going to get. And then it kind of backs down to, okay, maybe we don't want to buy right now. And then it turns into like a week or two later or 3 weeks later, they see something that's like they would really like, and then they go after it. And then after that, they're like back in the game. So like days on market, it has gone up because people aren't just like the first one that they see, the first two, three that they see they're offering on. It's more like, man, we like this house, but I can't imagine paying 3,000 a month. Can't imagine paying 27 a month. Can't imagine. And then eventually they just get used to that number. It's like, okay, it kind of is what it is. I'd like to own a house. I know in this area, like in our area, 5% is very mild. It's gone up consistently, at least 5% year after year for probably the last 10 years. I mean, it's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
so people are just like, I know I need to buy now. If I want to live here and own a house, I need to buy now. So they just have to like get used to that payment. So maybe that's part of what the days on market's coming from. But like you
Mm.
said, it's real estate's crazy because, in the morning you could have no clients. In the afternoon, you could have 5 people looking, or you could have 5 transactions going under contract from a listing or from, it's just everything happens so fast. Even if it takes a while, like you go from nothing to active work very quickly. And
Mhm.
that's what keeps it interesting. But you never know where your buyer is going to come from. Someone could be just yesterday decided to move from California to New or North Carolina and now looks at your listing and makes an offer. Just it's so when people get discouraged about, oh, it didn't take 2 days to sell my house this time. It's like, well, give it a little bit of time. It's not like it was a couple years ago where it's just crazy and everyone was going crazy and buying houses and all that
Yeah,
stuff. But yeah,
def-
real estate's fun, you know.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you also have rental properties then?
Yep. Yeah, we have a few rental properties too.
Yeah, give me some details on that. Like what does your portfolio look like?
So currently we have three long-term rentals locally here, one short-term rental locally, and then one short-term rental in this kind of random vacation market a few hours away.
Gotcha. So how long have you had the long-term rentals for?
One of them, a few years. The first one was like our accidental investment, bought it as a primary residence in 2016 and lived there for a year and then turned it into a rental. And then the other two long terms, we bought one of them 2 years ago and one of them last year.
Nice, nice. Did you use a VA loan on that primary residence?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and looking back on it, it's like I did not have any idea what I was doing. I was active duty in the Marine Corps, like
yeah,
knew nothing about real estate. I knew I was going to try and marry my now wife and was talking to my dad when I got orders to North Carolina. He was like, you should look at buying a house. Like you probably buy something and your mortgage would be, about what you would be paying in rent. And I was like, that sounds like an adult thing to do. So
yeah,
I did.
yeah.
My agent was great. Like I actually got paid at closing because she was able to help negotiate some like seller paid closing costs to cover my closing costs plus
Nice.
some. So I walked
Yeah,
away from closing with like a $1,500 check and the
yeah.
keys to the house.
There you
And
go.
but I was like, I just thought that was like, oh, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Just
Um,
normal. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, the VA loan's amazing.
yeah. We'll clip that and we'll put a caption of like you can buy a primary home and make $1,500 VA loan. Like all that nonsense that people post on social media where it's like no money, you can buy real estate. It's like theoretically, yes, there's ways to do that, but it's someone's going to be paying somebody. It's not like no one's paying nobody. Something has to transpire here.
That
Whether
would
it's just
definitely get some clicks though, for
yes,
sure.
that's the clickbait that you got to. So what? Give me a little bit of the numbers on your first property there, your first deal. I mean, you said it was an accidental rental. What did you buy it for? You said 2016.
2016, bought it for 224,000. It's 3 bed, 2 bath, single family home, in Hampstead, North Carolina, and it just kind of a standard neighborhood, and lived there. We moved in the end of 2017 and rented it out. Our mortgage payment was like $1,200 a month, and we rented it out initially for $1,500 a month. Um, we managed it ourselves for the
Yep.
first like 2 years. Like a lot of people made a bunch of mistakes. I was
Yeah.
way too nice to tenants. They took
Yeah.
advantage of us a little bit. There wasn't anything that was like, catastrophic, but they when they moved out, we had to like do a lot of work, put some money into the house, and it made me question, real estate. And then
Mm-hmm.
in comes our friends who are property managers, like just a ray of sunshine, took over this property for us, increased the rent, and yeah, from then it's been such a great property. So currently our mortgage, the taxes have gone up a bit, insurance has gone up a bit, so our mortgage payments, like I think it's around like $1,400 now, but it rents for like 22 or $2,300 a month. So even after
Amazing.
paying a manager, we're cash flowing pretty good
Yeah,
there.
500-600 bucks, something probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's incredible. Did you refinance when it was like 3% interest rates, or was it just not worth it?
We did not refinance that one. The interest rate is like
Okay,
3.75.
gotcha.
And
Yeah,
yeah, we could have probably refinanced down to 3 or maybe even less, but
yeah.
yeah, it was just we're
Probably
like,
not
well,
super worth it at that point.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want like the loan amount to go up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so what would you think the biggest lesson that you've learned from either that first rental property or investing in general, or even just being an agent slash team lead, broker? Like real estate in general, 5 years in the game, or no, yeah, 19, 5 years in the game.
Yeah, I think on the investing side, like real estate is such a forgiving asset class that
Hmm.
if you are able to, even if you're breaking even the first year, or
Yep,
like it's in the end probably going to work out really well for you
yep,
if you're able to hold it for a while. And yeah, and then but it's not easy work. Like there's no shortcuts to it, and similar to life in the military where you have to earn everything. Nothing is just given to you starting it from like military basic training or something. Like you have to earn it yourself and put in the work and put in the time and effort and really care about what you're doing to be successful. And like nothing's just handed to you. So I think that's kind of my big lesson more on like maybe the real estate agent side of things.
yeah, yeah. That's good. So 5 years in, what do the next 5 years look for you? Are you gonna try and buy more rentals, grow the team, just keep doing what you're doing, see what happens? What are your more, I guess that's kind of like a mid-ish to long-term goal, 5 years.
Yeah, I think we are going to slowly continue investing in real estate. Um, Nothing crazy. Like we've always kind of tried to like purchase one property a year if we're able to,
Hmm.
and have that be like our retirement plan. So yeah, continue investing, but yeah, really grow the team and try and my main focus is to try and help the agents on our team be successful and accomplish their goals. And I'm still in production very much too, so help as many clients as I can, and yeah, grow the team over the next 5 years. I mean, we want to be the top team in our area, and I know we're able to do that, but that's our midterm goal.
What is your like, I've, I guess I feel like I've been a little bit disconnected from like realtor politics world a little bit. Like when I first started, I got calls from different brokerages to see who to join or whatever. And then I was with a smaller one and then went to Real. But what is like the pitch to someone to join your team? Or is it more of like, I feel like we get along just, from a who we are perspective for you personally, like we get along. It would be cool if you were on our team. Like what it is if you aren't. But do you kind of go that way or are you actively recruiting people and giving like an elevator pitch of, this is why you should be on our team or
We have never done any, you know, recruiting, I would say, the way a lot of firms do, where they cold call agents who just get their license and stuff. Like
yeah,
we've never done any of that. We've always grown just naturally through our networks and sphere of influence, and friends who maybe connect a friend who's thinking about getting into real estate. And so I think that's been nice in a sense of wanting to make sure that it that our team is like the right fit for someone, and wanting to make sure that they're kind of the right fit for our team. But when I sit down with a new person who's considering getting into real estate and joining our team, I talk about the good, bad, and ugly. And so I tell them
yeah,
like it's not easy. It takes a long time to kind of build your business, but there's no ceiling to it. Like you're compensation is equal to the effort that you put in. And like in my time in the military, where I mean, the military is a massive organization, and there is some, reward systems and stuff, but for the most part, like you could care way more and work way harder than that guy who's the same rank as you and be much better at your job, but like y'all are getting paid the same thing. Maybe
Yeah.
you might get promoted a little faster, but in real estate, it's like if you work super hard, then you're gonna see fruits of that labor way quicker. And yeah, and then I also believe in like wanting to surround us with like-minded people who want accountability in their life, and and want to be a part of what we're building here. So there's a little bit of, I would say screening on our side to just try and make sure, if someone does join the team, like they're in it and they're going to do the work, and really for our benefit, because we're going to invest a lot of time into, new agents, but also, and more importantly, for their benefit, so they know like what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I struggle with that sometimes. Like I love talking about the fun things and like the
Yeah.
good things, and I feel flattered when people want to join our team, and so I'm, but it's just kind of this balance for sure.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's cool. Maybe I need to look back into team stuff, see what's going on there. It might be fun to have. I think just like a handful of agents that we just get to go and get a bunch of leads and take care of our clients. I mean, most of my business is investor based, so
Mm-hmm.
I probably want some other agents who are investor based too. So we
Mm-hmm.
can kind of funnel everybody the same direction. But when you're not, you know, doing real estate, obviously you've got the kids. But what do you guys do as far as hobbies, activities, things you do outside of work? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so I mean, we love spending time outside. We live in a beach town, but we really don't go to the beach all that much.
Yeah,
But I have recently started playing basketball again once a
nice.
week, which has been really, really fun and a good thing. But yeah, I mean, we travel a little bit. We have some family around North Carolina, some different parts of North Carolina, and then yeah, just try and spend a lot of time outside.
Yeah. Are you from North Carolina originally? I don't know if I ever asked that.
No, I grew up mostly in Maryland. Went to high school and college in Maryland. That's where my parents still live there, so moved around a lot before that. But
Gotcha. And then where were you? Were you stationed in North Carolina? Is that where you guys stayed there, or were you in Coronado or over in like San Diego area?
yeah, I spent a year in Virginia, in Quantico, Virginia, going to schools and stuff, and then was stationed in Southern California at Camp Pendleton
Hmm.
for 4 years, and then moved here to North Carolina for my last few years of active duty. But
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't long after we got married and kind of settled in here. Um, Became members of this really awesome church here, and it was clear like this is the spot for
Yeah.
us, and we want to stay here long term. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you go to the same church as Johnny then? Is that where you met him?
we do not go to the same church. No, down here in North Carolina, there's a church at about every
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah.
Um, no, I met Johnny. He came to one of our real estate investing meetups the first time I met him, actually. So,
Nice. Yeah.
mm,
We lived in Tennessee for a stint. I grew up here and we go to the church that I grew up at, but
mm,
we were in Southern California right by Masters when we got married. And we were going to a church out there that I went to during college. And then when we went to Tennessee, it was the same thought of, there's literally a church on every corner. We don't need to
mm,
actively look for one before we go because we know that there's going to be churches. But we
mm,
actually had a weird thing where we couldn't find one that we really loved in the sense of like they were preaching, consistently week in, week out, like biblical truth. And there was a
Mhm.
couple, but they were like, one was a startup, and where we were in a phase of life, we wanted to have kids and wanted to have our kids be around other kids. And there was like literally one kid at the church who was like, well, this may not be the best situation for us. But yeah, it is crazy how there's some places where there's just churches everywhere. Doesn't mean that it's, any better than anywhere else necessarily, morally or anything. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on and um, giving us your insight, giving us the knowledge that you've built up over the past 5 years. Is there anything that you feel like you would do differently if you were to go back and restart your career 5 years ago? Would you just go all in investing? Would you go back through the agent route and the team route, or what? Is there anything that you would do differently?
Um, I I definitely wish I had like learned about personal finance and real estate. Like
Yeah,
I've been really nice to learn about that in like high school and
yeah.
college.
You would think
Um,
that's something that they would teach you in high school, but
you think,
and in
and
college.
no, I think back like when I could have bought a house in Southern California in like 2013
Oh yeah,
and rented it out to a bunch of my buddies in the Marines and
yep.
all I could have sold it and made like I don't know, it'd probably be worth like
$1 million probably. Southern California.
dollars more or $1 million more now. But
Yeah,
I mean, I wish I had started investing earlier for sure. But yeah, no, I wouldn't really change much about our, you know, I love being an agent. I love our team. Like it's a really fun and interesting life. Every day is different. I get to serve people and help guide them through, you know, a major investment and a place that is going to be very important to their lives and their families is where they live. So, no, I love it, but yeah,
nice.
definitely wish I could have learned more sooner. And it was, yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone out there who's wanting to get into real estate, what would be the advice you would give to them if they're not involved in any capacity, but they're wanting to either start investing or be an agent or what? What would you, where would you point them?
I would say I've gotten so much value out of local real estate meetups. There's a few around our area. I would
Yeah.
say go to a real estate meetup and just put yourself out there and try and really connect with one person
Yep.
and take them out to lunch. They don't need to be, the most successful person there or anything. Just meet someone and learn, find out their story. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that, I mean, there's real estate investing meetups all over the place, and it's such a good way to get free education and to just meet people.
Yep. And it is that old school classic marketing of, the more people you know, the more opportunities you have, and it's who you know, and they might. I've had things where I meet up with someone with one time, and now they're good friends, or now they've referred me clients, or we've done a deal together in some capacity. But you never really know. One of my really good buddies now, we met on a transaction. They made an offer, we accepted it, and then ended up falling out of like escrow. And I feel like a lot of people usually that's like that agent, they messed up our transaction, whatever. And now he's one of my closest. He's a pretty close friend. So he was actually on the podcast. It's been really cool
Cool.
to see how those relationships grow, and that's what I do. Enjoy about real estate is it's a people business. It's a it's a business where there's no shortage of interaction with other people. Um, whether it's clients or realtors or every lender in the state trying to take you to lunch so that they can get your business. But I did think that was fun when I first started because I got, everyone's wanting to take you out and like
Yeah.
jump on you when you're first a new agent. I'm like, yeah, I'll take free lunches all day, man. I'll eat those up. But that's
Yeah.
that's the that's probably the best part about being an agent. All the golf events, you get to go out play golf, get the sponsorships, all the baggies and the goodies. I'm like, man, this free stuff is great. It's worth the price of admission. But
That's right. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you coming on. This was great. It was fun having you. Where can people check you out? What's your guys' Instagram? I think I might follow.
Our team's name is Quiet Waters Realty Group. So yeah, please, if anyone wants to talk more, is interested in what we're doing, please, that's a great spot. Yeah, we're our website, just quietwatersrealtygroup.com.
Yeah, awesome. I might have to look into some like Burr rentals over there. I like knowing people in that market, so like knowing Johnny and then now meeting you, but knowing that it's like that's going to be a heavy rental area no matter what the market kind of does. There's always going to be marine. There's always going to be government funded. It's like Section 8. It's like any other government funded, rental assistance. It's not rental assistance, but they're giving you money to go rent a house. Like they're good. It's always going to be there, So that's not a bad place to own some rentals if we can find some distressed properties and put a little work into them. I gotta text Johnny and have him find me some deals or something. But
do it. I would love to help you out, and I agree with your sentiment. So yeah, well, thanks so much for having me on. I really enjoyed talking with you, Josh, and yeah, look forward to hopefully helping you out in the future.
Awesome. Well, this will get posted on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all the places you can listen to the podcast. I need to be better about starting to promote this thing. I always like just sign up. I'm like, all right, see you later. I need to tell people all the things. But I guess to me, if you're listening to it, you already found it. So it doesn't really matter. But we'll post it. We'll clip it up, post it on Instagram and tag you guys so you can see all that. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah, looking forward to another one hopefully soon. We're trying to come out to North Carolina. It's a beautiful place. My wife Tiffany has her grandma's in North Carolina. I can't remember the town. It's like Greensboro, maybe.
Yep.
So we're trying to get out there at some point to see her, and we'll probably pop over and say hello and stuff like that. So
awesome. Yeah, well, let us know if you want a couple of nights at the beach here too. We'll hook you up.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. Tiffany's all about the beach.
Nice.
I like to run around on the beach. I can't sit still for very long, but she'll lay down and take a 40-hour nap. Probably all those kids that she's had and has to take care of every day. It just makes you tired. But that's why right. When I come home, we run around and she gets to sit down and relax. That's the goal. But yeah. Awesome. Right. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll sign up there.
All right. Take care, Josh.
Thanks, Sean. Bye.